Hey everyone, and welcome to Salt. Here we are, broadcasting from our couch today. And why are we over here, Miranda?
Well, because you wanted to sit here last week, but we didn't because I was too lazy to change my pants into something nicer. So,
Ah,
you know.
but
So
what are
we
we doing
so
here
we hid
now?
behind the desk.
Yeah,
Why are we over here now?
yeah,
Because you wanted to sit here.
because I wanted to sit here.
We have all our stuff that's going on the trip with us. A bunch of it's piled up on the desk over there. Because
Yes.
tomorrow morning arrives early, and it has just accumulated over the week, so we don't forget this, that, and the other things. So
We are going to Omaha.
yes, Omaha.
Yes, that great vacation destination in the
Yes,
middle of the country called Omaha,
it's
Nebraska.
true. When
Where
Brett told his sister he was going to Omaha, she's like, "Why
small
Omaha?"
children dream of Disneyland? No, it's Omaha they want.
But it does have the best zoo. It really does.
Yes, it does have a good
Yes.
zoo. Yeah. But we're not going for the zoo.
No, we're going to see the grandbaby.
Yes. And to help, is this when
Yeah,
Autumn's off
Autumn
for a week?
is out of town for a week. Yes.
And Colby, who has never taken care of a baby,
Well, on top of that, he has 3 full-time programming jobs.
so they were like, oh, we need help.
No, they
And
didn't.
guess who said, I'll help. I'll come to the rescue.
We just volunteered as soon as we heard she was going to be out of town. I was like, well, my goodness, we'll come up and help you.
We volunteered.
We did volunteer.
And yeah, it's actually Aspen is the one that's desperate to go and help take care of the baby because she is such a baby person. She's babies.
She's not actually.
She's not. If you watch our Facebook stream, last time we were up there, we have pictures of her holding the baby like she's holding something radioactive. Her. But yeah, so we're gonna head out tomorrow, sometime. We're kind of lax about it. 10, 11,
We're not
whenever
lax. I
hits
have,
us, we
I
go.
have grand plans.
Grand plans for the
Yeah.
grand baby.
Last time we left at 9, which
Was
wasn't too
way
bad.
early.
You definitely don't want to leave after 9.
So early.
But 8 or 8:30
Oh
would
my
just
gosh.
make all my dreams come true.
Vacation at 8:30.
Who said it's a vacation?
It's supposed to. I'm pretending. I'm pretending. Allow me my fantasy. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, it's really not bad. Well, I don't want to sound like the old guy on the couch going, "Wow, when I was young, I could sleep in, and now I wake up at 6 o'clock every morning." But I do 6:30, 7. So getting out too early shouldn't be too bad as long as we're all packed and ready to go. But
Yes, and we will be, won't we, Brett? Have you packed your suitcase?
I'm a guy. I just throw in some socks, underwear, toothbrush, and we're good to go.
That's right. You know what? My suitcase isn't packed yet either.
Uh,
But it will be tonight.
so yes, we are headed
Or at
out.
5 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah, one of the
One
two.
or the other.
And we're planning on Mackinac Island. That's one of the places we're going.
That would be a real vacation.
Yeah, because there's a big bridge up there, a big island up there, and yeah, so islands and bridges, and I don't know. Maybe we should talk about that today.
Islands and bridges. Wow, that was a really good setup this time, Brett. Even I caught it.
That's
It was
what I'm here
so
for.
just
My job, Segway professional extraordinaire.
gotta hand it to the man.
I'm here for you.
Yeah, that's why. Thank you. Okay,
Okay.
so you have to excuse me if I look awkward on this couch. I'm not tall enough to look good on the couch. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. But I do like to be comfortable, so I'm gonna lean back
I
and
got my arm in your back.
I'm going to lean back and be awkward here.
Okay.
Brett, on the other hand, is tall enough to look great on a couch.
I don't look great in anything nowadays, but you look good everywhere you go. Look at this outfit. This is amazing. Look at me. I'm Target dressed, but you always look good.
Okay, so why, thank you, sweetie.
Yeah.
The thought I have for the day is that it takes more backbone to build a bridge of peace by faith than it does to stand up and defend your pride on your own personal island. And
More backbone to build a bridge of peace than to stand alone and defend your pride on your own personal island.
Yes. And there was a story that reminded me of, happened to us.
We were crossing a bridge once.
No, it wasn't that at all.
It's not that story even remotely.
No.
But we have crossed many bridges. Yeah, you're talking about the filming of the making of that movie for the Advanced Risk Management.
Yeah, or was it a movie yet?
Movie-ette. Yeah, it was just over 30 minutes.
Was it that long?
It was about 30 minutes because it was in sections.
Oh, yeah, so that made it seem...
Yeah, in the end, I mean, it was like a 10-minute section, a 7-minute section, a 10 minutes, and there was enough sections that in the end it was about 30 minutes, which, if you know anything about making video, I mean, that's long.
Yeah.
You know, when my students, I'm teaching them, they're lucky to make a 5-minute movie in a semester. We were shooting this thing in 2 days. But yeah, it was... we're, Advanced Risk Management. So it was a big company, big corp. They had money. It was really one of the first, well-funded projects I'd ever worked on. And I was excited because they're going to pay for actors. Because they had this thing and they wanted this courtroom scenario shot as a movie that they were going to use in trainings. And so it was cool because, wow, I get to work with professional actors. And, we're just outside of Dallas, and Dallas has got, talent agencies out their ears. And anyway, it was not near the experience I dreamed that it would be. In the end, there was only 2. I know the one guy did really well, and another lady did pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then we had 2 just disasters, and one guy who was so full and sure of himself, but he wouldn't take any direction. I mean, I'd sit there and I'd say, I want you to come to this mark, and then, okay, sure, yep, got it. And then he wouldn't do any of it. And he was so calm, he's like, oh yeah, I memorize lines like that. My memory's, steel trap and everything. And he couldn't remember, he did all right, but he wasn't memorizing his lines like, sometimes they had to stop and go, the line's actually this, And, it was pretty bad, and these were paid actors. So yeah, I guess the one thing was, in the end, they were missing an actor. One of the ones didn't show up, and it was fine for the first day because we could shoot around it. We could do all the other scenes without. But we're going to have him for the next day. And I don't remember what the guy said was why he didn't show up.
Yeah, I don't remember why he didn't show up either.
And so when he said he wasn't coming, I almost said, that's fine, I'll do it. But in my head, I'm thinking, can I actually direct this thing and act at the same time? But seeing what I was working with, I was like, I could do this, and it would be much easier. But I didn't. The one guy was so full of himself. I got just the perfect guy, and he can easily learn all these lines in just overnight, and he'll be amazing.
He was amazing.
In that way.
Yes. Well, yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
This guy couldn't. I can work with just about anybody, and the one woman I would shoot a line, and let her look down at the next line and shoot that line, because one of them was that bad. And this guy couldn't even do that. He couldn't. He would look at a line, and literally, he would look there, and probably 2 minutes go by. Okay, I'm ready. All right, and action, and then blank. And I'm sorry, I'd never seen anything so bad in all my life. Sorry.
All right.
It's still emotional.
He's blathering on here.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So, the guy that was full of himself, basically. He had a relatively dismissive attitude towards Christians and Christianity. And I found it interesting that the person he found that he thought was perfect was a very weak type of person, if you will. You wouldn't consider him, he wasn't a strong personality. He was just a very passive kind of guy. And well, never mind, there's plenty of passive people who are great, but But it wasn't working for the acting thing.
Well, it wasn't working for the role. He was supposed to be playing the president of the company.
Yeah, he was supposed to be playing the president of the conference.
Yeah, and he just...
And
it was bad all around.
yeah. I assured these people that we had met any number of conference presidents, and they did not at all, weren't anything at all like this guy.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, no.
It was bad.
So anyways, but it did seem to be representative of what people think of Christians in general, just kind of weak, puny people and such. And so, you know, I thought of that. It takes more backbone to build a bridge of peace by faith than it does to stand up and defend your pride on your own personal island. And so, you know, I thought the story of Jesus illustrates this point. Because you've got Jesus at Gethsemane, and there, you know, he isn't really sure that he is actually sure he doesn't want to go to his own crucifixion, you know, but he irons that out with God, and he's at peace with God about that, right? Okay, and so he goes to the trial. You know, he's mocked, he's crucified. That does, for someone who claims to be the Son of God, he should have power to be doing stuff and shooting people down with lightning bolts, basically, rather than being crucified on a cross, right? And yet, Jesus didn't fight back, and he didn't stand up for himself. Okay, so, and yet this was the epitome of victory. It was the greatest victory of all time, is when Jesus rose from the dead, and now with salvation for any sinner who wants to be saved. So basically, those of you who've been watching us for a while have heard us talk about the circle of peace before. And I've already used it a couple of ways, but this made me think of another way to use this analogy. So first of all, it's just your basic straight across. You've got peace, which gives you strength, which gives you victory, which gives you joy. And that is, you can look at that and you say, yeah, you know, in a situation, if I have peace and I'm not the one who's running around like a chicken with his head cut off, I'm able to, you know, it gives me the strength to think clearly and act rationally and such like that, which gives me victory, which gives me joy. And so we can also look at that backwards, if you will. If we start with the word joy, that would be when I have joy in my relationship with Jesus, that gives me victory over sin, which gives me more strength in my relationship with Jesus, which gives me peace. So I have peace when I am in a good relationship with Jesus, and he's the one who gives me victory and stuff. So now, based on what we've just talked about, okay, let's set the circle of peace in a whole new way. First of all, I want to look at the verse, Nehemiah 8:10. The joy of the Lord is my strength. And so we have peace, strength, victory, and joy. The word victory there is between the word strength and joy. And since strength is joy, or joy is strength, let's look at the word victory between joy strength and joy strength. And so it's that joy and the strength in our relationship with Jesus is what gives us the victory. That's victory. And gotta read what I wrote down because okay. So basically, and I had to look this up, but the vertical structures that hold up a bridge are called piles. And so joy and strength are holding up victory like a bridge. And peace creates the bridge of victory in our lives. So when we live out, that's where it goes with, it takes more backbone to build a bridge of peace by faith than it does to stand up and just defend your own pride on your own personal island. And so building a bridge of peace may look weak, but it isn't. It's victory, which is held up by joy and strength. And that was Jesus there. You know, that victory that he had at the cross, it looked so weak. to others, and yet that's what brought peace. He was a peace.
Yeah, so I think one of the things I think of when I think of Gethsemane and what you're talking about. So if you look at, the last few hours of Jesus' life, you have him and the disciples, and they're in the Garden of Gethsemane and everything. And, Jesus is praying, and if you read it, he's in great anguish. There's the great drops of blood that he's sweating because of the stress. And, it's very emotional, and it's very intense, and there's lots of, crying out to God, and there's lots of, real passion going on, because even though he knew what the plan was, it doesn't mean he was excited about being crucified. So in Gethsemane, you see all that, right? And there's the, 3 times he asked, if I don't have to do this, Father, don't let me do it. If I don't have to go, I don't want to go. If I don't, and then there's a moment in the prayer you find that, but your will, Father, not mine, right? And there's that moment where he makes the decision. He makes the choice to go to the cross. And, when you ask a lot of people, when was salvation decided? And, it was on the cross. And it's like, it really wasn't. It was actually decided in Gethsemane. Because up until that point, you see Jesus wrestling with everything. And, with a great emotion. But after that moment, the rest of the story, you find he's just at peace. And just once the decision is made, he's made that choice, between the mocking, between the trial, between the beating, everything, because, it says they beat him and he didn't cry out, just like it said in Psalms, that, he was at peace. And that's because it was already done in his mind. That was it. And
that's in what strength.
And that's where he made the choice. He had peace about it. And that peace was the strength, gave him the strength to go through all of that. Where then on the cross, he had the victory, and then in the resurrection, you have the joy. And so that's how the circle of peace worked there. And, that's in a really big example of the circle of peace. But it works in very similar, in our everyday lives. And just when we make a choice about something, whether it's a big or small thing, we wrestle with it, we make a choice to do what we know is right, even if it's hard. Once you have that choice, there's something about that knowledge of you're doing the right thing. God has promised to be with you and give you that strength, and that gives you the strength to do it, which is the victory, and you have this joy after that you've done it.
Yeah, and because the joy of the Lord is my strength. So those are kind of interchangeable in a sense.
Yeah.
And so I found it interesting that in the analogy that happened to for those of you who don't know how we came up, or how, why we talk about the circle of peace, it's
back from in Nebraska.
Yeah, I was back in Nebraska. I remember, I had a friend at the church who, started a prayer group and stuff, and she wanted to do some fasting and prayer. And so I was like, all right, we'll fast on Fridays. Well, not all day on Fridays, and I don't believe in no eating. I just kind of cut back. And so, or never mind, I've never done a full day of fasting, though it turned out to be 24 hours, because I would start after lunch on Friday, and then I wouldn't eat. I'd just skip dinner and breakfast, and then eat at lunch the next day. So sort of a 4-hour fast, but you don't notice it when you're sleeping 8 hours of it. But anyways, I felt like that might have been cheating a little, but anyways. I feel like I need to read a good book on fasting.
Well, it's not cheating. I mean, fasting is fasting, whether you're awake or asleep. So it's not, it's, it's what it does physically for your body. And it's, clear out and everything. But yeah, anything, I've read things where longer and everything, you may feel like it depends on everybody's different. Your body's different and everything. But long fasting and often is not good for your body.
No, and actually Ellen White, if you read, she actually made a comment where, Jesus, when he fasted that 40 days and nights in the wilderness, he did that for us in a sense, basically. And she said, you don't have to do these long fasts. Yeah. Just a short fast, a short, simple fast is all that's required of us, basically, which made me feel a lot better. Because a 5-day fast or something, it just wasn't up to,
And now that I'm diabetic, no fasting at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways,
You were saying?
yes, I usually, sometimes I would ask God, well, what do you want me to fast for? And there was one time, like, it was a little teeny tiny voice that kind of whispered peace. And I was like, right, whatever. Yeah, no, it didn't sound, I wanted to pray for something strong, and, and I kind of blew it off, and then, but I wasn't coming up with anything else. So I was like, okay, what do you want me to fast for? And it was the same word again, was peace. And I was like, all right, well then why do you want me to fast? For peace. And that's where that little thought voice ran through my head and said, because peace gives you strength, and strength gives you victory, and victory gives you joy. I was like, wait a second, let me get my pencil. I have to write that down. I'm going to forget.
Wow.
So yeah. And so that's why we talk about the circle of peace like that. Because it really did make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that's from way back in
that
Nebraska.
was definitely 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 years ago. Yeah.
So anyway, and we made a graphic out of it and everything, and I'll have to share that with you. So it is on the website. I did put that graphic on our website. We'll have to resurrect the website from sometime, but yeah, if you want to go to our website, it's Salt Seeking Living Truth, Miranda Hadley. Just look it up, and it'll take you there, and there's a lot still on there. And who knows, Miranda's working on some Instagram stuff and some blog posts. There's already a bunch of blog posts on there. And we can do even more. So.
But we want to update.
Yeah, want to
update our newer stuff that we're doing and such. So.
And that's where Aspen's coming in to update social media, because she's a gamer. Anyway, all right. So there you go. So we're leaving tomorrow, and I guess the next time we'll be broadcasting. We'll be in Omaha.
He's seeing us in a new place somewhere. If nothing else, Colby's basement.
Yeah, I don't think we did. Did we do anything up there last time?
Yeah, we went to the bridge, remember?
Went to the
Bob
bridge.
the
We went to Bob the Bridge again. That's right.
Yep.
We went out to Bob the Bridge. But yeah, we'll be out there. We'll be, who knows, traveling around, maybe something from Mackinac. So we'll be Salt on the road, from different places coming to your home living room, maybe. Okay. So, thanks for joining us. And, like I say, we'll see you on Wednesday. We'll do our little pinch of salt from Omaha. And if we see any fun things along the way, we'll share those with you. And we'll see you next